Welcome back to Leeds Lately for another episode of Dream Teams. This time we are joined by Rocco from Leeds That and of his own volition, author and Leeds fan extraordinaire. Let's put that right on the camera. So this book is available in the link in the description as well. Rocco's most recent book, but you're also writing a new one at the moment as well, aren't you?
I am. Yeah, I've just finished The Sons of Reeve, so that's submitted. Should be out in April. That's number 5.
Yeah, look out for that, guys. Yeah, and you only started a couple of years ago, didn't you? When Bielsa came in.
That's it. Yeah. My first was in 2021, so yeah, I'm prolific. Yeah, might have a little break now.
Yeah, and you've been over as well to see Newell's and stuff, haven't you? As well to.
Not Newell's. I went to watch Uruguay.
It was Uruguay. Yeah, that's the one.
That's
Sorry,
right.
Uruguay.
I was initially planning to go to Newell's, and then I thought, well, like, why not actually just go watch Bielsa ball again? And I didn't regret that. It was amazing. The Brazil game when they won 2-0. It's brilliant. Loving being a Uruguay fan.
Yeah, I think I can tell one of the answers to one of the questions a lot later on, but we'll come to that. So as well, just before I get into it, I always mention this. It's the person's favorite players of all time, not the best. So you can't say that Rocco is wrong for picking a player from the League One era just because they're not very good. It's the favorite players. It's attached to the memories. And that's why the series is entertaining, because it's talking about people's journeys of becoming a Leeds United fan. And Rocco's got plenty of history with Leeds. So let's go straight into it. And let's go for your goalkeeper. Who have you gone for in goal?
Yeah, well, goalkeeper was easy. I think the rest of the team was really difficult, but goalkeeper, Nigel Martin, number one. An incredible goalkeeper, spectacular goalkeeper, made incredible saves routinely, massively underrated. So in preparation, I just had a look because I knew that he got in the Premier League team of the season quite regularly, and it turns out he got in 98, 99 and 2000, 3 years running in an era where there's Seaman, Schmeichel, and Martin got in 3 years on the trot. Season before that, he got the most clean sheets in the league, and a couple of years after, he got most clean sheets as well. Again, phenomenal, and a really, really nice guy as well. I have met him before. I once did some work for him, and he was kind enough to stand chatting with me for about 45 minutes. Just talking Leeds. So lovely bloke, and the best keeper that I've ever seen in a Leeds shirt, easily. Probably our best of all time, I would think. Like I say, I mean, the thing that annoys me, I still believe that we would have never have got relegated if we'd have kept Martin. We got rid of him and brought in Robinson, and Martin went on to have some fantastic years at Everton. David Moyes says it was his best ever signing. If we'd have kept him, I think we might have just been all right. But it wasn't to be. But this Leeds career was cut short, but it was phenomenal what he did at Leeds. He was incredible, and helps us in all sorts of ways. Like when George Graham came, he was the one that helped steady the ship, and 21 clean sheets in a terrible team. Yeah, even with bad defenders, really. He had bad, but like Molinar, Weatherall, Paul Beasley, like 21 clean sheets. It was quite
can make a massive difference, can't it? Having a really good goalkeeper, and then, like you say, in a relegation battle as well, a team that's got a really good goalkeeper can sometimes just pull them out of the mire in those situations where you really need to. And it's nice to hear that he's a nice bloke as well. So a lot of people have picked him in this series because, like you say, he's probably one of the best, if not the best goalkeeper Leeds have ever had. And a lot of people have picked him, but nobody, I don't think nobody had met him other than you. So it's nice to hear that he was a nice bloke as well. He is a nice bloke as well, because they say never meet your heroes, but sometimes it can work out all right, and they can be all right. Yeah.
Well, it was. I was doing flood restoration, so I was like ripping up his carpets in his house because he'd been flooded. And at the end of it, he picked a piece of fluff out of my hair. So that was lovely.
I'd like sounds like something from a rom-com.
I know, yeah, exactly. I'd like to say I've still got it in a little thimble, but no, I lost that bit of fluff. But, it was a lovely moment.
I didn't think one of the sentences on this episode would be, I lost that bit of fluff. Do you know what we didn't do, though, which I usually do, is I usually ask you for your formation, but everybody has a goalkeeper, so we can just insert this afterwards. What formation have you gone for with your team?
Yeah, I've gone 4-5-1, I guess. So with a holding midfielder and then two wingers supporting a striker.
Okay, a little bit Marcelo Bielsa sort of formation.
Yeah,
Could be called a 4-1-4-1 as well, because there's the holding
yeah,
midfielder in there.
pretty
Yeah.
much 4-1-4-1 is that's a better way of putting it. 4-5-1 sounds a bit George Graham actually.
Yeah. Right. Okay. So Martin in goal. Who have you gone for at your right back position?
Right back, yeah, that was tough. I nearly went for Ayling, but I had to go for Kelly. Gary Kelly, again, best right back that I've seen in a Leeds shirt, and I love the guy. You know, a one club man, played for us, I think, 16 seasons, and
It's
a
crazy,
phenomenal
isn't it?
right back. Well, it
In the
is.
relatively modern game, that is crazy to 16 seasons.
Yeah, and the other crazy thing as well, thinking about the Reeve players, like so many of them got over 700 games. Kelly played like pretty much ever present for 16 years, and he only got 500 and something.
Yeah,
So
it's
yeah, it
mad,
shows.
isn't it?
It really is, yeah. But yeah, so like came into the team, you know, he was a striker. They tried him at fullback in the pre-season, and he never lost his place. You know, he came in the team, was an ever present. I mean, you think about Archie Gray now, 17 years old, playing week in, week out in the Championship. Well, Gary Kelly was 18, played every single week in the Premier League. He got in the team
Yeah.
of the season, even though we weren't particularly good. And then he went to the World Cup and played for Ireland in USA as well, and was brilliant for them. And then yeah, just kept it going all the way to the end. Obviously, he had some injury problems, and like Danny Mills like got his shirt for a little bit. But Kelly was just awesome, and a proper modern day fullback, you know, up and
Yeah.
down the wing. Yeah, if he was in a Bielsa team, you can imagine him just like clocking up some ridiculous number of kilometers in a match. You know, he'd just never stop. Yeah, and even in his last season, 2006, I think he was our player of the year. And in that season, when we were in the Championship, he scored. One of my best ever memories for Leeds was a FA Cup third round replay against Wigan at Ellen Road, and he scored like a 30-yard thunderbolt, like from a cleared corner, and like Gary Kelly scoring, of course, was like as rare as David Batty. So like that was just an unbelievable moment. I'll never forget that. So yeah, like obviously ended really badly. You know, his last season he fell out with Wise and Bates and didn't play as we got relegated to League One. And then like he's having a goodbye on the pitch when we've just been relegated to League One. There's been a pitch invasion, and then he's like having to wave goodbye, like the worst goodbye ever. But like I really, again, as a person, like not only because he was so loyal to Leeds, but then like the way he's just like gone into the background, like he don't care about all the other stuff. You know, he's just living his life in Ireland, loving Leeds. You know, watching us, still a massive fan, but yeah, you don't hear anything of him, which yeah, I think I quite like.
Yeah, so much no news is good news sometimes, and players just don't like the limelight. They just wanted to play football, and they just loved playing football. Do you know what Luke asked last week? You know, and I think Joe was interested in this as well. How much that people think that he would be worth in today's game, because most modern fullbacks, they can either defend or they can attack, and they can't do both to the level that he could. And if you sort of take into consideration inflation and what he would be worth in today's game, it's got to be 60, 70, pushing 80 million pounds for somebody of that talent.
Yeah, I saw them talking about that, and I thought exactly that, 60, 70 million. Yeah, it would have to be. He was absolutely top draw, just brilliant, and so quick. You know, rarely did anyone get the better of him. I think I remember Giggs once, like he tore him apart a little bit in his first season, actually, but like that was a really rare occasion. Like that,
but like you say, he was only 18 as well, wasn't he?
Yeah, exactly.
And for it to be a rare occurrence, even when he was that young, it shows something, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. He even played further up the pitch as well. I think O'Leary started playing him on the right wing for a time when I suppose Danny Mills was had his right back spot. So yeah, he had a lot of skill as well. He could play both roles. Just great player.
Yeah, great. Who have you gone for at right centre back then?
So right centre back is a controversial one, I would say.
Right.
Again, so I've picked a team on like my favourite players, and like especially like as a moment of time sort of thing. And Pontus Jansson is my choice, right centre back.
Fair enough. Not the first
Yeah.
person to go to Pontus, not the first person to.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah.
I'm glad to
I
hear
can't
that.
remember who it was. It was either Ollie or Lockie, I think. Went for Pontus because obviously they've grown up in an era where he was probably one of the best we've had. But obviously you've seen a lot of right centre backs and still picked out Pontus. Is that to do with his personality as well as the way he played and how much passion he had?
Exactly that. Yeah. I mean, I just love the guy, and I know like a lot of people sort of used to question whether his passion was, just I don't know, like doing it for attention or whatever. And I think if people look at the decision that he made at the end of last season, leaving Brentford and going to Malmo, that shows the guy that he is. Like he gave away loads of money. He could have earned a lot of money. He had other options on the table, but he just wanted to go back and play for Malmo, even though he's still a top centre back, because that's the team he loves, and that's the kind of guy that he is. But yeah, for Leeds, just gave everything. Exactly the type of centre back I want to see. I also think he was brilliant. I think he'd have been fantastic.
He's a really good player as well, wasn't he?
Yeah, superb. And yeah, I mean, I think obviously Pablo was already at the club, but I feel like Pontus was the start of the revolution, really. Under Monk, I don't think we'd have been anything like as good as we were, without him in the team. I just feel like he changed everything. He held everything together. Obviously, he had Bartley at the back with him. We had a really good defence and Rob Green behind
solid.
him. But yeah, so solid. Great talker, just an animal, a guy that loves defending. I absolutely loved Pontus. Yeah, I mean, like I say, he's got him here over Woodgate, who I loved as well, of course. But yeah, Woody, obviously with his injuries and leaving early, decided to go for Pontus. I think he'd be worthy. He'd be worthy of getting in this type of team. And
I think that's why it's favourite, because yes, Jonathan Woodgate was a better player than Pontus Jansson, and so were a lot of the other right centre backs you could have chosen over the years. But it's about your connection with them and seeing them that he was almost part of that. Well, definitely was part of that revolution and making Leeds good again. Rather than us just sitting around in 15th for eternity. And like you say, that with his passion and his aggression on the ball, he's him going in for tackles. And he's the type of player who Leeds fans love, because he'll go in for a tackle and then he'll celebrate the tackle, and all Leeds fans are like, oh, yes, come on, and just love it. And yeah, there's a perfectly good choice, Pontus Jansson, and I really like Pontus Jansson too. I wish he'd have stayed longer. Who's going to be partnering him then at left centre back?
So left centre back, I've gone with Lucas Radebe, just an absolute class act. Probably the best centre back I've seen for Leeds. Like, Rio was amazing. I hate to say he was absolutely phenomenal. But Radebe was right up there with him. So graceful. Like his trajectory as well. When he came, he was nothing. He looked out of his depth, really. Wilkinson played him in midfield a lot, and then when George Graham got the job, that's when his career took off. George started playing him basically like as a man marker, so he would get the job of marking Letizier or Cantona or whoever it may be, the best player of the other team, and he was like a magnificent man marker. But then just suddenly somehow became like an amazing centre back and got better and better. Captained us and should have captained us all the way to the Champions League win, and he was good enough to sort of follow us on that journey. He was awesome, and his attitude as well. What an amazing man that he is. The fact he could even go in goal, like there's so many things in his favour.
Yeah, he went in goal twice, didn't he? Luke was saying last week there's that famous one, but there was also another one as well where he went in goal that people don't talk about as much. But the fact that he's just first to go, I'll do it for the team.
Middlesbrough at home it was. It wasn't. I think it was like a few weeks later after the Old Trafford one, or maybe before. But they're both quite close together. And then like the rare goals that he scored that were always just amazing to celebrate. Fantastic guy, incredible player. I just love Radebe. He was just absolutely awesome, and I don't know if he's underrated. I mean, I think he's not underrated at Ellen Road, but underrated in terms of Premier League footballers.
This is exactly what I said. I can't remember whose episode it was on, but I said that I think that Leeds fans know exactly how good he was, but opposition fans and maybe other Premier League general fans do underrate him, because he's never in the conversation for other people. When I see fan media and stuff, he's never in the conversation for best Premier League centre backs of all time. But he was certainly up there because of like you say, the way you could play, and he could play a bit with the ball as well. He was good defensively, and every now and then he would pop up with the goal. And as well in terms of value for money, the fact that he was off the back of signing Masinga, he was just sort of like a sweetener in the deal. It's amazing what he went on to do for Leeds.
Yeah, it really is phenomenal. And it's true. I remember I was on a stag do with a load of Middlesbrough fans one time, and they asked me who my favourite, or who the best ever, I don't know if it was best ever or favourite Leeds player. And I said Radaby, and they all started pissing themselves. They're like, oh, you've had Viduka, you've had, reeling off all these names. And as they reeled them off, I was like, do you not realise how good Radaby was? Like, he was better than those people. Like, this guy was like full-blown world-class defender. So I could not go with Radaby.
Yeah, absolutely. Who's going to go alongside him at left back then?
Yeah, so left back again was an easy one, really. It had to be Tony Dorigo. Just old enough to have seen him play. So my first season ticket was the season after we won the league.
Right.
Worth saying that Dorigo got Player of the Year for us in that year that we won the league, which shows how good he was. And that was his first season for us. And then, that second season, my first season as a season ticket holder, we finished 17th, but Dorigo still got in the Premier League Team of the Year. That's how good
that was.
He
the inaugural Premier League season, wasn't it? For
that's
people
right.
in the comments who are my age or younger. That was the first ever Premier League season that we finished 17th and Dorigo won. Didn't win Player of the Season, but he was in the Team of the Season.
Yeah, and it was just like the song was "You'll Never Beat Dorigo," and he was like, you couldn't beat him, and he was so quick, so good going forward, could take a free kick, delivery fantastic, never stopped running. Just such a shame that like after that season, we barely saw anything of him, just with injuries, terrible really. And it was a curse, and we've still not really got over it. We had Ian Hart for a little bit when Hart went brilliant for a short period, but apart from that, we've pretty much struggled all the way through since Dorigo. But fantastic left back, and again, top bloke. He's great on the radio. Love his punditry. Another one that I've actually met and had a chat with, a long chat with. Really nice guy. Like, just unassuming, just top bloke. He's happy to sit and chat. He's great guy. Love him. It was a no-brainer at left back.
You can always tell as well that somebody's a good bloke if they stick around at Leeds afterwards, because obviously Tony Dorigo's from Australia, moved here. He's played for Chelsea, he's played for Leeds, he's played for Torino, he's played for some other English clubs as well. Has he played for Villa?
Villa, he played for Villa, Derby as well, a bit later on in his career.
And out of all those clubs, he's chosen to stay at Leeds. So it's not even just that he has got that affiliation for Leeds from playing with them and picked them as the best one and decided to stick around and and do the commentary and all that sort of thing. And like you say, Radaby still keeps an eye on Leeds. Kelly still keeps an eye on Leeds. And so it's there's a bit of a theme here with people who the fans loved and the players loved the club back. So it's nice to see. Yeah. So as you're going for a bit of a Bielsa formation, who's going to be that lone holding midfielder?
Well, again, I mean, tough competition here, but I did go for Phillips, just because I think like David Batty was amazing. He was probably a better player than Phillips, but if I'm picking like in this formation, I feel like I'd have to go for Phillips. It might be recency bias, but like I just thought he was just phenomenal for us. I know obviously it was in the Championship most of the time, but like you look at his highlights reel, like the stuff that he can do with the football is just top quality. I feel like his reputation's taken a bit of a hit in a couple of years. Obviously, he's not getting a game at Man City, so that doesn't look particularly good. But while he was at Leeds and while he was playing for Bielsa, and in that first Premier League season, he was just absolutely magnificent. I just love watching him play. Always got a massive smile on his face. And I suppose like the personal side of it and the fact that like Batty, when I was young, like pretty much straight away went to Blackburn. Didn't have a say in it, of course, and he came back and everything. I love David Batty, but as a favourite, I think I have to go with Phillips. I really, really like him. Got a load of time for him. Wish he hadn't left, of course, but I'd like to think he might come back and see the job out like Batty did. But just top bloke, fantastic footballer. Loved watching him play. Love how he loves to get stuck in. He's a bit old school as well, and he's got a heart of gold. I've loved to see him. I'll still watch England. Like if Phillips is playing, that's the only time I'll stick it on and watch a qualifier because I'm interested to see how he does. Otherwise, I wouldn't even look at it. I really love Phillips. Like I always wish him the best.
Yeah, I'm the absolute same. I love Phillips. He's probably, because of the era I grew up in, so I was born in 97. It's been terrible, really, in my lifetime, other than, obviously, there's the Champions League era, but I was like 5, so it just doesn't even count. I was 7 when we got relegated, so the best memories are obviously in these very recent years, and Calvin Phillips in that role, his ability to pass the ball and to spread the ball all over the pitch, and then just to fly into a tackle, come out with the ball, the players rolling around in the distance, and he's come away with it, and it was just class to see. And like you say, his personality just seems like he's happy all the time. He was Leeds through and through, and obviously he's gone to Man City and gone to win things, and he has won things now, so I do hope he does come back at some point. But yeah, I think he is underrated when we look back at it, because like you look at Ampadu now and everybody's saying how good he is, but I don't think he's performing anywhere near to the level what Calvin was, because Calvin always seem to be able to find those long raking passes. Ampadu can do a couple twice, 3 times a game or something, and it looks a little bit vulnerable when he's on his own, which is what we've been talking about recently with Jer and stuff. We're saying how he keeps getting isolated on his own, Ampadu. But Calvin Phillips played that role on his own pretty much the whole time and always did well there, always went from side to side and did that whole area on his own. So that just shows how good he was. I absolutely love Calvin. So he's definitely worthy of a pick.
Yeah, I like his reading of the game as well. Like, his football knowledge, and like when he dropped into defence, like he played quite a few games at the back for Leeds in Bielsa's first season, and he was just magnificent. Like I almost felt like he was as good in defence as he was in midfield.
Yeah, and when you consider it, the season before that, he'd been a number 10 pretty much.
Yeah,
and then he's playing holding midfielder. That's not the end of the world, not too much different. Bielsa's seen something in him. But then for him to be playing centre-back as well, everybody forgets that he was the previous season played as like a number 10, scoring a couple of goals and stuff.
Yeah, I know. The other thing as well for Phillips that it's worth saying is that, like, that last game at Brentford when we stayed up, like, Rafinha gets all the headlines, but I think Phillips was almost more important. Like, I thought that was one of Phillips's best games for us. It sort of slid under the radar, I feel, but he was just magnificent that day. And obviously, like, since Bielsa had gone, he was playing in a bit of a different role, but whether Jesse decided or whether the players just decided, but like he played in his normal role that day with Greenwood just a bit ahead of him, and he was absolutely magnificent. Like I don't feel like we'd have won that game without Phillips. Whoever
to be
was
honest,
playing.
I barely remember that game because I was so anxiety ridden the whole time. I don't really remember what happened other than the goals and Canos getting sent off and stuff. It's just a blur in my head. But yeah, I believe you that he played well. Let's go over to the right hand side then, and we'll go across to the left. So who have you gone for the right midfield role?
Right midfield, probably another controversial one. Lee Bowyer. He was my best player, my favourite player in the O'Leary years. For many years, Mike Bowyer was my favourite ever Leeds player because I just loved how he played. Like, I love that type of player that is just up and down, non-stop engine, tackling, passing, scoring, getting stuck in, just absolutely everything that I love to see on a football pitch. And he never gave anything less than 100%. Some of the goals that he would score arriving late into the box, when O'Leary took over, he really came into his own and was completely fantastic. One of the best midfielders in the country. He was close to being the top scorer in the Champions League season. I think he'd scored 6 goals. I think in the end he came second. So I think Morientes or someone got 7, but he was suspended for the second leg in Valencia on the eve of the game with the tie at 0-0. If we'd have had Bowyer in Valencia, who knows? Like we'd have maybe or probably gone to the final. Like
we're such a what if club, aren't we? You had so many times where you go, oh, what if this player was fit for that game? What if this player didn't get suspended? What if we had this manager for another 6 weeks or whatever? And it's always the case with Leeds, isn't it? We're very much the nearly club, and it's very upsetting.
Well, it is, and that one as well is so unlucky because it was like in the first leg, Bowyer, there was like a challenge, and Bowyer landed on the player with his foot. And the referee, Pierluigi Collina, legendary ref, instead of booking him, he made him shake the guy's hand. So because he hadn't booked him, UEFA were able to go and re-look at it. Like if it had booked him, they wouldn't have been able to upgrade that to a suspension. So yeah, bloody unlucky that. But yeah, I mean, either way, like again, another one that it did end really badly. I mean, he ended up leaving on loan. And oh no, he didn't leave on loan, did he? He left for like 150 grand, I think, to West Ham, which was just crazy. I think Liverpool had a chance to sign him for like 9 million in the summer, and for whatever reason, he turned it down. I think everything had gone a bit sour because after the court case, he'd been fined by the club, even though he'd been found not guilty of all the charges. So yeah, that really, I think that soured everything, to be honest. It feels like that was the beginning of the end. Everything started going wrong from there on. But yeah, he's another one that I met. I feel a bit bad talking about this now, thinking about like the criminal case, but I actually went to Old Crown Court to support Bowyer, and like I was in the courtroom and like not in the courtroom, but in the the waiting area. This is when they were waiting for the verdict to come out. Ended up being a retrial, so it was all a waste of time. But I had a nice chat with him again, like happy to give us like 10, 15 minutes just chatting away about Leeds. Yeah. I was only about 16, 17 at the time. I bunked off school. I was actually on the news. You could see me walking out the courtroom behind him.
Going, oh, I'm supposed to be at school.
I know, yeah. No teachers ever said anything. I was in sixth form, actually, so I think I was allowed to not be there. But
fair enough.
Yeah. But no, just a great, I like that. And the whole story around that trial of how like it brought him onto whole new levels. He was getting helicopters to get to the game after the trial, not being able to train, but still playing his heart out every single game. So yeah, I absolutely loved Bowyer as a player. He was just awesome.
Yeah, you're the second person who's picked him, and Luke picked him last week for the first time, and he said as well how brilliant he was and how he was surprised as well that nobody else has gone for him because he was such a good player coming up and down. And I said a lot of people of like my generation stuff kind of only remember him for that fight on the pitch at Newcastle, because that's the famous thing, isn't it? That everybody kind of remembers him for. But yeah, like you say, his time at Leeds, he was a very, very good player, and it's a shame it ended the way it did for Lee Bowyer, but a worthy addition to the team. Who are you going to go for next to him in the midfield role and centre mid on the right hand side?
So on the left, this one is then. So this is on the right wing.
No, sorry. So he's right mid and then centre mid next to him.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I'm again, it's a bit of a funny one, but I've gone with Fabian Delph. So he's on the left of the three. Loved him. Like absolute phenomenon of a player. One season in League One, but like when I was trying to pick the team and try and pick a balanced team, and I was thinking of candidates to play if we're playing in this formation to play this role, and I could think of no one better. Like Delph was like just sensational. He's the best young player that I've ever seen at Leeds. Someone of that age in his first season. Obviously it's League One, but like I don't care. Like his skills, his pace, like
it still makes a massive difference coming into men's football at such a young age and having to make that step up in terms of physicality and stuff. It doesn't really matter what level of professional men's football is, and sometimes that can actually be harder in a lower division because it is a lot more physical. There is a lot of bigger players who try and push the young players around and try and give them a bit of a baptism of fire. So he did remarkably well to have such a good season in League One.
Definitely. Yeah, and like terrible pitches, and he played about 51 games. Like there's no management of his minutes or anything like that. He was just there all the time, and scored some absolutely spectacular goals. Like one from the halfway line in Grayson's, I think it was Grayson's second game. It might have been Stockport, I can't quite remember, but phenomenal goal. And then the more famous one is the Brighton one where he like dribbles the length of the pitch and then curls it in. He was awesome, and like again, like he's had a fantastic career. You know, he was a regular Man City at left back when they won the league one year, and yeah, he's done really well. But I don't feel like he's sort of fulfilled his potential from what I saw. I know he got a bad injury at Villa, and I don't know if that sort of curtailed his progress a little bit, because like he was explosive, and you know the flair that he had, like the skills that he could do, the tricks and flicks. Like he was like really like
you don't really think of him like that now, do you? You think of him as more of like a defensive player, but he could do both, couldn't he? And so that's probably why he's a really good candidate for this role in the team as well, isn't it? Because a good number 8, a box-to-box midfielder, does exactly that, and he could get forward and, like you say, taking people on with flicks and tricks and being able to shoot as well. And then obviously he was physical and he could come back and help out in the defense as well. So perfect candidate for that sort of role.
Yeah, he loved getting stuck in. Like he loved a sliding tackle. That midfield 3, I would absolutely love to see them in action. It would be it'd be a right sight. Them just all bombing around, flying in for tackles.
So who have you gone for as the other centre mid then to complete the midfield 3?
Sorry. So I had Bowyer and Delph, and then Phillips behind.
Oh, they were the so Bowyer was in the middle, was he? Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Yeah. So who have you gone on? Who have you gone for on one of your wings? You pick which one.
Okay, I'll go. I'm just checking because I've changed this about 5 times, but I nearly went for Gradle, and then I was like siding towards Strachan, but I couldn't ignore Pablo. Like it has to be Pablo. Just love the guy, an absolute magician. You know, the heartbeat of the Bielsa team, which probably is my favorite team. Like obviously I love Bielsa more than anything, but like that O'Leary team was really special. But Bielsa team as well, like the way that they delivered us out of the Football League, and Pablo was at the heart of that, and an incredible player. I think he would happily get in any Leeds team or in any Leeds squad anyway in the whole of history. Like I feel like he was that good. Some of the stuff that he could do on the ball, he was a magician, and he would deliver with goals and assists. And again, it's like I don't know if he ever did actually captain us, but leading by example. He was just like having him in the dressing room, like often. Like you never really see him smiling, but then in the really bad moments, like you'd see what it meant to him. Like after the playoffs and after we lost to Brentford when we couldn't get automatic promotion, and he's like there crying on the pitch, like you could see what it meant to him. So for him to finally deliver like he did, he is like Strachan. I saw the end of Strachan's career and he was incredible, but like Pablo was like our Strachan. Like Strachan was like Bobby Collins before him. It's quite amazing how we've had those like 3 players, very similar situations, coming to help pull us out of the mire. Just love him. Like, what a fantastic guy. I'd love to go over and see him in Spain. Is he still playing?
Castellon.
He might have retired, did he?
I feel like he may have done, Let me just do some Googling whilst we're actually recording this. Because he came in under Gary Monk, didn't he? And we were talking about how there was those he has retired, there was those moments that we've had throughout history, all those what if moments, but he was a what if moment that actually did happen, where you thought, a player who's played in English football, he's played in the Premier League, and he's gone out to Qatar, he won't be coming back. But then because we got Gary Monk, and he used to be he was his mates with him, wasn't he, from the time at Swansea together. That what if moment actually happened, and we got him, and then he obviously played well under Gary Monk, but then when Bielsa came in, his levels just went through the roof. And like you say, he always just popped up in those moments when he needed to. And whether it was that, the one I always think of, the one where Jack Harrison ended up running into the stands by the cardboard cutouts because he was going that fast. It was because the ball was played into Pablo, and he just went like that first time over the top round the corner, and Jack Harrison got him, put it in the bottom corner, and ended up in the stands with the I can't remember what they were called. What did we call them? Those cardboard cutout things. I can't remember. It's completely gone. But
it's in that book if you want to have a look. It's
yeah,
near the front. I can't remember now. Yeah,
but
no,
yeah,
that was phenomenal.
and since then we've had like a Pablo shaped hole in our hearts, haven't we? Of somebody who, and not even just that because we loved him, it was also because we need somebody like that. We need somebody who's capable of doing that. And I have seen Jorginho's not the same type of player by any means, but I have seen him pull out some of those passes where it's like first time round the corner. The one against it was like a week ago or so.
Yeah, Rotherham.
Yes, against Rotherham, where it went straight to Somerville, and then Somerville ran across and curled it in the bottom corner. That was very much like one of those, and it was like, okay, I'm starting to see some little sparks of this here. It's not going to be the same, is it? But that's what you kind of need, and he provided that in spades. El Maggio, that's why they called him that, because he was a magician.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Like, there's certain things. Like, there's obviously a lot of famous things that he did. Like, and you've got like double nutmegs and all sorts. But like, there's a couple of little moments that I love of Pablo. That there was one. I mean, it's a nothing game. I think it was like QPR at home. But like, if you actually look and pause the screen, there's 11 the whole team of QPR are in the penalty box, and Pablo's got the ball on the edge of the box, and he finds like some incredible, ridiculous gap to just pass a ball through the defense to Roof, like just to poke it in. And it's just like ridiculous. Like he does stuff that like I've never seen before and may never see again. And like to see that like is special, isn't it? And that's it, and especially in the championship.
It got us so many extra points in those seasons, because there was moments where, well, all game where the teams would be playing a really low block and just sitting back against us and really just trying to soak up pressure. And a lot of our players, well, all of our players but Pablo wouldn't be able to break that. But because it was Pablo, he'd nutmeg a player straight through. So he would go through a player rather than round them or find a gap. The gap would be between the player's legs, and we're in and we scored. And it's like no other player provides that for us. So he was magical when he was at Leeds. He was absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, I couldn't ignore him. Too good.
Yeah. Who have you gone for on the other side then?
So on the left, I've gone for Rafinha. Again, love the guy for what he did at Leeds, and obviously the last day at Brentford. I think again, like, he's gone up in my estimations since that day because of what happened last season. You know, what you saw with players who had get out clauses if we went down and completely down tools, and then you see that guy who's is on the verge of his whole dreams coming true. A guy who's like been in the favelas playing football, fought his way up, come to Europe, been sold 2 or 3 years running, even though he's doing well. It's very odd. And then come to Leeds, and he's on the verge of signing for Barcelona for 20 odd million, and potentially jeopardizing that, but not caring. He would have done anything for us to stay up. That was the most important thing to him, and I've just got so much respect for him for that. And to have the skill and the composure to fire in that penalty like he did, like he always did. His penalties were absolutely magnificent. And then like patting in the stands and doing his little walk on his knees, like down the pitch. I mean, that's like just completely iconic. They're moments that we'll always remember. Like, I don't think we saw the best of him that second season. I think obviously he had a good season.
He was still our top scorer, and like you say, he still managed to do well in a team that was really, really struggling. And like you say, we talked about Phillips before, but it was him and Phillips in that game were just vital to keeping us up. And then you think about how teams have, like Leicester, for example, until recently, they had that model of selling the best player and then keeping the second best player and trying to, do you know what I mean? Like trying to hold on like that. And then the next year that player will be the best player and they'll move them on periodically. But the mistake that we made is we sold both of them at the same time, and we kind of had to, but those two players were like the players that really held us together, Calvin Phillips and Rafinha, and just we sold them both and then expected to somehow survive. But when Rafinha was here, he was brilliant. I mean, everybody woke up and took notice when he scored that first goal against Everton, when he just whacked it in the bottom corner from the edge of the box. Everyone, oh, okay, this guy's serious. Yeah, I like this guy.
And that's why I'm wearing this top.
Yeah.
That's the thing there. That lockdown season, he was something else. Like every single touch, like his first touch, like he'd just beat a man. Like he wasn't even like he was just controlling the ball. Like that wasn't enough for him. He just, like his first touch, he'd just sweep it on and he'd be away. He really was something else. He was phenomenal. I'd love to see him then, but at the same time, like it helps us through lockdown because again, I don't think that team, like as well as we did, without Rafinha, like he was the X factor. Like we needed him. Like without him, we'd have been fine, but like we wouldn't have had such a season.
It's literally the same kind of situation as what we had with Pablo in the Championship, where it's that one player who is the spark and the person who makes things happen. And obviously Pablo was getting a little bit slower and not being able to contribute as much at that point. And that's when Rafinha was taking up that mantle and being like, okay, nothing's happening. I'm going to cut in off the right hand side and bend it in the top corner against West Brom. And it's like, well, nobody else is doing that. So he was unbelievable. And as well, it was like, we've signed a Brazilian because we hadn't had the last Brazilian we had before that was Adrian. And that didn't work out too well. But when we signed him, I was like, oh, we're signing a Brazilian winger. He's got to be good. He's got to be good. And boy, he was.
I do. I remember when he came on. I think it was his debut at Crystal Palace, and we were like 4-0 down, or 4-1 down. It was that game where Bamford's goal was disallowed for his arm being offside.
Oh yeah,
like
because he was pointing, wasn't he, to click to say,
right.
pass it to me here.
Yeah. But Rafinha came on second half and like he did some amazing things, and I was like, sort of on the edge of my seat, even though the game was gone, just like thinking, bloody hell, like this guy's really good. What an absolute superstar he was. So yeah, feel lucky that we've had a player like that. You know, it's a long time since we've had a world superstar, and obviously he's gone to Barcelona. He didn't really replace Messi, but like Messi left, he was the right winger, and they've signed Rafinha. Like that sort of says everything about him, really.
Yeah. He's not like they're not saying that he's anywhere near as good as Messi, but he's kind of like, would they think that he could be a good replacement for that position in their team? So he must be doing something right.
Not a bad claim to fame for him, is it?
No, and he does not look out of place in a Barcelona top at all. Does he look like he was always destined to go there? And it's just good that we had him for the time that we did, because he was always destined for bigger things, wasn't he?
Yeah, certainly.
Well, before people get annoyed at that, Leeds is a massive club, but at the time and the situation that we are in, there is obviously bigger things to go on to, playing in the Champions League and things like that. I don't mean that Leeds isn't a good club before everybody comes and tries to kill me in the comments. So that just leaves the striker position then. There is plenty of choices over the years, isn't there? But who have you gone for?
I've kept it simple, really. I've gone for the guy who scored the most goals, and that is Jermaine Beckford, an absolute goal machine. Again, League One, but 3 years, 30 goal a season, man. You know, I've never seen that. I hope I see it again, but maybe we won't. Beckford was an incredible finisher, and like a really talented player. Like some of the goals that he scored are ridiculous. Like there's a lot of Premier League strikers that couldn't score the goals he scored. He was brilliant. Great player. Headers, left foot, right foot, cool as ice in front of goal. Could take a penalty as well, and a goal machine. I think we'd have to probably work on his work rate, but like, you know, if we're playing in a Bielsa formation and he's leading the line, I'd like to think Bielsa could have got him to sort of tear around like a madman, because you know, even just his pace on the shoulder of a defender would have been so incredibly dangerous. Playing in this team, you know, I have absolutely no doubt that he would score a bucket load of goals with these players around him. It would have been interesting to see. I know he got his chance in the Premier League. He did all right. His goal scoring record wasn't too bad at Everton. But yeah, clearly like his best years were at Leeds, even if they were in League One. And again, like another one that has always been Leeds through and through. He's stuck around the club. Another one that I've not met, but I was able to interview him for my League One book. And
all right.
Just like what a gentleman! Like he was amazing. Like I said that we'd need an hour, and we got to the end of the hour, and we're like just after the first season. But like had no problem like booking in another slot and doing another hour for me. Like, you know, just he just absolutely loved it, and you could tell how much he loved the club and what it meant to him. And like he was telling me about the last game against Bristol Rovers, where he was given the armband. You know, we needed to win to go up. It was probably definitely going to be his last game, and like how he was fighting back the tears coming out of the tunnel. And yeah, it was emotional listening to him, the way he spoke. Again, like another one that's left on a free transfer, and you know, a lot of people could sort of look at that in some way and think negatively of him. And yeah, we never probably know the full truth of what was going on back then. But you know, just for the goals, for the performances, and yeah, for his love for the club ever since. Yeah, I've got no qualms of putting him in. It was tough. It was like Yeboah. I loved Yeboah because he was the best striker I've ever seen. But Beckford had to go for him.
Yeah, it's football's about moments as well, and the fact that we'd been stuck in the EFL for so many years, and then that game against Man United in the FA Cup. Like I think I was saying to Joe that I didn't really get to go to games when I was younger. We didn't have Sky, so I couldn't really even watch the games. It would be like you listen on the radio or nothing really. And so when we were on the FA Cup, it would be on the BBC or ITV or whatever, so you get to watch those games. So I sat down to watch that game with my dad as a kid. And when that moment when he scored that goal, I was like, oh my God. But it seemed like it was slow motion when he rolled it past the goalkeeper. Was it Kushak in net for them?
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
he rolled it past the goalkeeper, and it looked like it was slow motion. And I was going, "Oh my God, is it going in? Is it going in?" And when you actually watch it back now, it didn't take that long to go in. But at the time, I was thinking, "This is taking an eternity." And it was that one thing of being able to say to your mates at school, "Oh, we beat Man United," and they were like, "Yeah, you're in League One." I was like, "It doesn't matter. It does not matter."
It makes it better, doesn't it? But that's the thing. Like a lot of people sort of a bit embarrassed, or like, you know, they'll have a go at people celebrating January the 3rd, and I think the opposite. Like, what an incredible story that Leeds United, even as a League One club, can go to Old Trafford and beat the Premier League champions. Like, I just think that's absolutely fantastic. One of the best memories I'll ever have as a Leeds fan, no doubt about it. And yeah, what a finish he gave us that moment. I in my book I described it like a putt. You know, almost like it was like roll, like it didn't go straight, did it? It's sort of like just
a great
like
way to describe it. Yeah,
it was phenomenal. Like a great. I mean, it's a really unique finish. I don't think I've ever really seen anything like that.
He like almost fell that way whilst the ball went the opposite way, and he sort of, his momentum went against the ball, which usually you try and get your momentum behind the ball to get power on it, and he just sort of like dropped it off and carried on running that way. And it just sort of, like you say, it was a perfect way to describe it, like a golf putt. It just sort of rolled into the bottom corner, and everyone just went, yeah. Fantastic stuff. Yeah. That's an absolutely great team, Rocco. Now, I like to spring this question on people without prepping them first, because it gives them a chance to think about it and talk about it live. Who's going to be a captain for this team?
Oh my God. That's a great one, but I will go for Radby. Yeah, I think he is. I think he would have the most respect out of everyone in the dressing room. I think they'd all look up to Lucas. So just double checking I've got this right. But yeah, I would go for Radby.
It gives a perspective as well, this question, on what kind of captain people like to see, because some people like to see a captain who might be a striker or whatever, like somebody who leads from the front and leads by example and doesn't necessarily talk and communicate and was very vocal and control the whole team or anything. But they lead by example, by being brilliant. So somebody might make Pablo a captain, for example, and he was actually quite a quiet player, but was just so good that everybody's like, oh, we've got to be at his level. Or like you said, somebody who had the respect of the dressing room, somebody who was a defender or a goalkeeper who can be at the back and they can see everything that's going on, and they can talk to people, tell people to move this way and that. And there are different types of captains, aren't there? And it's Radby is certainly that falls into the second category there.
Like, looking at my team, I think we probably do need his calming influence, really. So it has to be him.
There's a lot of hotheads in there. I mean, Rafinha, Bowyer. There's a few others in there who could lose their temper on their day. Beckford probably as well, actually, at times.
Yeah.
But yeah. So the other question we ask is, we said that you are the manager of this team. So how are you going to make them play? Is it going to be Bielsa ball with a little bit of focus on getting Beckford to press?
Yeah, definitely. That would be my main focus, would be getting Beckford to run his heart out for 90 minutes. And 100% Bielsa ball. All out attack, just man on man marking. Yeah, the whole lot. Absolutely love it. There's no better way of playing football in my eyes. And obviously, when you've got bad players, it doesn't go very well. But when you've got really good players, it goes
a team like
brilliantly.
this.
Yeah,
I think it could work very, very well.
Chomping. Yeah, it would be great to see.
Usually, I also ask who's your favorite manager, but I think I know the answer to that question.
Yes,
I think we know the answer to that question.
Well, he's my favorite human, so yeah, he's my favorite manager as well. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, absolute legend, and what he did for Leeds is absolutely fantastic, and the likes of which we probably never see again playing that sort of football. But it was fantastic whilst we had it. That's it then. Thank you so much, Rocco. What a fantastic team you've made there. And I'm sure they'd be winning titles if they had the chance. Just a shame we'll never get to see them play together. But like I said at the start, Rocco's got his books out. So if you go to leedsthat.com, the link will be in the description, and you can find Rocco's book, this book that I mentioned, and also his previous books about Bielsa, and there's other ones as well, isn't there? Remind me of some of the books that you've written.
Yes, there's League One Leeds, about the 3 years in League One, the O'Leary years, about the O'Leary years, and then there's 2 books on Bielsa, the promotion, and then the Premier League, and then Sons of Reevy coming next.
Yeah, fantastic. And then obviously Rocco is part of Leeds That, the podcast as well. So that'll be linked in the title and the description as well. So make sure you go and check that out. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you, Rocco, for joining me. And
thanks for having me.
Yeah, no worries. And I'll see you next time on Leeds Lately.